Okay. Wow.
On air. We're on air.
I think we're on air. I think we're on air. If we are on air,
It-
please give us a yell. Tell us whether you can see us, what's going on, because
Now, I,
still
I
still getting
I
used to
have
it
to
all.
start. I have to start with why I'm wearing what's it called? Miami football shirt is because I thought I'd be hilarious with my in-laws who are English and wear a Messi shirt today. I sent a photo. I sent a photo of this shirt to the chat after the disappointing loss, and let's just say I haven't had a response. So I don't. I might be kicked out of my own family at this rate.
Oh, mate, you just park the bus. Park the bus,
Yeah,
mate. You'll be
yeah, yeah. It's
just wait. It'll eventually work for you.
it's not coming home. Is all I know.
Right.
Uh,
We on no echo. It looks like we're all good. So everyone, thank you very much for joining us for this reaction to Dave Rennie's All Blacks team to play against Ireland. Now, Jipper, your first thoughts?
um, well, as we sort of spoke about in our pod, like you saw the work that Darry had done, and you felt like maybe he needed a bit of a break, and you look at the mix of a Lord Tuipulotu Vai or Vai, sorry, and I don't know, like I just like what I like about this coaching group is they're picking a team for the opposition.
Yeah.
And I think like rather than it being like, oh, it's always on formal stuff, like they're literally picking a team that is suited to winning against certain opposition. And we've spoken about this in the past, and maybe previously we'd use first five, um, as in like Bowden or Damien, and that like each has strengths and weaknesses, and like maybe one plays this week or that. But I think in terms of when you look at it, you look at that bench makeup, man, like that's that, and I know I did a little short video earlier, but that's what excites me the most because they know this is going to be one on the last. And I keep looking down, sorry, because I'm just checking the team. But it's like you look at Armour, you look at Numia, Signa Lakai, even the Anton Leonard Brown, Caleb Clark, they're going to come into this game when the game's in the balance. Fresh legs against tiring defense. I don't, it's such a, yeah, I just think it's a really, really methodical 23 that's going to set them up to keep the Eden Park streak alive.
Yeah, they've done a couple of interesting things. Listening to Dave Rennie earlier, Wallace the TT's obviously been given a touch of a break. They've had a chat with him about, I suppose, his handling errors and the things that didn't go quite right there. And, that seems on point with what Rennie said about, you got to perform and you got to make it right. Even though he was good elsewhere on the field, those things hurt the team. So he's kind of been consistent there. The other side of it is Sam Darry feels like maybe he needed a rest after doing a lot of work.
Mate, if you look at his numbers, he's hit just under 100 rucks in 2 games. Like that,
Yeah.
that is ridiculous. And then you've seen his ball carries. We've spoken about that, but it's also his ball handles, his ability to pass and be in position. Like, man, he's got a big motor, but also like you look at it's great to see Paddy back. We know Josh Lord's height is really important to us winning line-out ball. Like Ireland are a strong line-out team or a set-piece team, and then with Tupou Vati at 6, it just that's how you beat Ireland. Is you've got to take them at their strengths, and their strengths are set piece. And this looks like a pack that is about that. But I do acknowledge what you say about Wallace. Like, man, this coaching group, I actually like how honest they are. Like they don't hide from it. It's like, yeah, there's a few handling errors. Like when you actually look at Wallace's game and his numbers, it's quite like he did a sufficient amount of work that you'd say he was, a high quality player. But they just the 100% performance matters clearly to this group, and they believe in the whole squad. Just like Josh Morby, if you look at it on the other hand, delivers as a left winger out of nowhere because Leroy Cutter gets injured early and he's rewarded. It would be easy to
Mm.
just put Caleb straight back there, but they're like, no, he was outstanding. We'll give him another run.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Josh Morby, you know, is a step away, like we spoke with on the podcast, maybe from what we've traditionally thought of as a left
Mm.
winger in New Zealand. I suppose that all changed maybe with Tui Gamala in the early 90s when suddenly power was such a huge thing on the left wing, and we've stuck with that for long periods of time. Even people like Richard Kahui, who had such a great skill set, was still a big man, when he was playing there during the World Cup. So it's been consistent, but maybe we've created a bit of a blind spot there along the way.
Potentially, and also like I actually think like South Africa are the world champions, and if you look at their wingers, they are very similar to a Will Jordan and a Josh Morby. They are fast, explosive, flight, good aerially, and sort of fit that mold. And I'm not saying we're copying them in that sense, but I think it's probably had ability to open the minds of this coaching staff in particular that have probably experienced. Like you got to think these coaches have experienced actually a lot of Scottish rugby, Japanese rugby, New Zealand rugby, Australian rugby. They are quite global in their experience, and again, I think they know that the Irish are going to challenge them airily. They
Mm,
are going to like we've got three fullbacks. Let's be
yeah.
clear. Like that's what we've got. We've got three fullbacks, and we want to take their strength away from them.
Yeah, and a 10 who also plays fullback. So, there's going to be times when he's back as well. So they do appear to have some aerial ability there, which maybe has
And
always been a slight worry.
yeah, well, I think it has. But even like I was watching the news the other night, and it was showing what uh, Ewan McKenzie, not Ewan McKenzie. Geez, that's the Reds coach, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like the skills coach of the All Blacks, and he's getting them to catch with these glasses that are giving them all sorts of like um, I suppose challenges to catch over their shoulder. So like as Bryn said in our podcast, which I actually didn't quite recognize it when I was watching the games, but when I saw this news article, I was like, oh shit, like, oh sorry, I shouldn't say, but
It's the
Bryn
internet. You can say what you want.
I can say what I want. But Bryn picked up that a lot of the high balls are no longer the getting in the air; it's actually catching over the shoulder. And I just think there's a lot of innovation, but they're not trying to do it in big blocks. If you know what I mean,
Mm,
like they're drip feeding these things in. Like I don't think they expect every player to catch over the shoulder, but I think in time that's probably going to nullify this whole escort issue. Like so the escorts gets removed, and this is going to be a skill set that matters.
yeah, yeah. It will be interesting considering how much we've seen Ireland kick in comparison to maybe some of the other teams. The Irish and the South African appear to have kicked a lot, and the other teams appear to be reducing their kicking. The All Blacks 15 to 20 kicks, whereas we used to see 25 to 35. And in some ways, the All Blacks kicked maybe more than any team in the world, even though we didn't kind of realize it.
Yeah, and I mean the irony is the two teams that were in the final of Super Rugby kicked the most,
Yeah.
which is it's a different way for these players to think about the game. Um, but I think what I'd say to that is if you look at every team we've played, like the French kicked a lot more against Australia. So the idea of us not kicking almost traps opposition into doing the same.
Mm,
Like it's like the All Black tests have had the least amount of kicking of these July internationals. So I'm not saying that the Irish aren't going to kick, but I'm not sure that we'll see them kick as much as we've seen in the first two tests. And it probably will suit them, to be honest,
mm,
because I don't think they've been as clinical as they'd like. They got out of jail against Australia. They gave opportunity against Japan. They want this Eden Park record. They've come down here. They've won a series. This is another opportunity to put a dagger into, I suppose, the All Black aura that they really want a piece of. So it might work, it might not, but they may get um, the All Blacks are going to play the way the All Blacks play. This new All Black group, sorry, I shouldn't say that. The All Blacks are going to play. They're not going to kick a lot, and they're going to go full noise in their direction. But I do think the Irish may take that challenge on, and I think we're going to see a very expensive game of rugby at Eden Park.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be interesting, especially if the Irish play ball in hand, which has been one of the things that has affected us in the past with the complexity of their strike plays and the length of their strike plays. They haven't been as good at that in the last little while, but in the Six Nations, they had the best defense. I think they're only giving up 21 points a game, so they've kind of made up for their attack not being quite as good with their defense being incredibly frugal.
Yeah, and I think their attack centralizes around Jamison. Like their nine is very crucial. And I think he decides how much they kick, how much they play. And he's got a lot of New Zealand experience. He was here, he was on the Blues side with me when we were playing against the Chiefs. So there is intel. You've got Andrew Goodman there. So like it would be foolish to think they don't have. I think they're probably going to try and match play with play,
Hmm.
and not necessarily in the Irish way that it's very systematic. But Johnny Sexton's back in their group, and I think he's probably going to bring a um, like, hey, remember how this worked,
Yeah,
2 or 3 years
yeah.
ago, and how bodies in motion and how our ability that if we get a penalty early, we go into the corner. We're not going to take three. If do you know what I mean? Like the Irish came to take that series and they took it. And I think
Hmm.
that's what we're going to see, like especially in the first 40. I don't think we'll see too many penalty kicks at goal. I think both sides will go to the corner and say, hey, we're going to put you under pressure. And even if it doesn't work, and if you think about the Irish series when they won, it sucked out of the tank of the All Blacks in that first half. They kept going to the corner, kept going to the corner, and it emptied the tank for them to actually, obviously run over the top and get those results, particularly in
Yeah.
Wellington.
Yeah, yeah. We've got a question in here about the forecast. The forecast is good. It looks like it's going to be fine with some southwesterly winds, but crisp, high 16 that day, so it'll probably be
It'll be
down around
dewy.
10
It'll be
degrees.
dewy.
Yeah,
It'll be
but
dewy.
but
And if,
not
if we
rainy.
got a waterfront, if we got a waterfront stadium in the North Shore, it'd be absolutely immaculate. It'd
Uh,
be, I reckon it'd be about 30 degrees. It'd be 30 degrees.
a waterfront stadium on the North Shore.
Yeah.
Let's
Uh,
well, it can't be at Devonport because it would make getting in and out the
Well,
worst thing in the
I mean,
entire
if
world.
if it could be at Waiheke Beach where I live, that would be amazing.
It
Short walk,
wouldn't be bad.
short
Well,
walk down the hill. Short walk down the hill to the stadium would be great.
yeah, yeah. People will be quoting the fact that the stadium hasn't been that full at North Harbour Stadium.
Hey mate, even us as players called it Stadium of Echoes.
Yeah. A couple of interesting points within the chat section. Preston, yet to see him have a crack.
Yeah,
I thought that he would play against Italy. I didn't think he would play against France or against Ireland. So it's interesting that he's just, I suppose, being blooded to some degree, and I suppose we'll see him in those first 2 or 3 games over in Africa, maybe.
I'm not I'm not sure to what to make of it because I thought like it was obviously a big decision to take him. But what I will say, and I took a lot out of our chat with Brad Weber,
Mm.
man, you got to earn your games, and it's between the white lines Monday to Friday, And I'm not saying
Yeah.
he's not. I'm just saying I think the other two, obviously, like it's a competitive position, and they clearly like as Brad Weber said, like you got dropped on a Thursday if you didn't perform at training. Like you
That's
literally got
brutal, eh?
you were starting, now you're not. You're on the bench or you're out completely. So
Yeah.
I think they're just being true to what they said they're going to be. Is
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you've just got to perform every session.
Yeah. Man.
It would
So
be hectic. It'd be very stressful.
we'll see how it goes down, I suppose. But it is an absolute
You can't fault though. If you
yeah,
think about what Cortez has done and what Cam has done, you, they haven't provided an opportunity for change.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like they haven't done anything wrong, and they've won test matches, and they've really nailed their roles. So I
yeah,
think that's the thing is like they obviously have Cam at one, Cortez at two, and Kyle at three, and they haven't opened the door for him to slip in. The other two, as
yeah,
in Cam and Cortez, and I think
yeah,
they're big on that. Like players want to play, man. Like they don't want to be told, "Oh, you're having a rest," and that's not Rennie's style. Like he wants a robust international player that can go week to week because that's what like we can't lose a test. We've seen that. Like no one's going to accept the All Blacks losing. So I genuinely do think they will only create opportunity through the door being open through poor performance or their strategic view of the opposition, like we've seen with Patrick, Josh, and Tupou.
yeah, yeah. Tupou, when we had him on the podcast, is interesting. He's obviously a very smart character. Like,
Oh,
it's quite just his public persona is offset by what he brings privately.
but I learned so much out of that. Like I like even though like, and I know I said it on the pod, but I just thought his ability to know, okay, Ben O'Keefe was the ref. This worked and it was allowed against the Blues and the Chiefs. You know, like he is very understated and probably very humble. Even when I said, "What does your week look like now that like it's Sam Whitlock and Brody Retallick aren't running the lineouts?" He's like, "Yeah, it's a few more meetings," and like he didn't oversell it like his whole All Black
Mm,
experience has changed. But
yeah.
I think that's the way he likes to play it. As he said, he's a nice guy. He's a really nice guy. Underneath it all,
I'd forgotten how much crap all of the chat in that Eden Park test course. Like when I googled it this afternoon, Kevin Peterson, like of all
yeah, I
people,
know, 100%.
getting on his
Said, who's
case.
that guy clapping his hands and rubbing heads? But you know what I loved is how he owned it. He like
Yeah,
just
yeah,
completely owned it. He goes, "No, that's when I know that I'm at my, I'm
yeah,
in the zone."
yeah, totally, totally. And yeah, he brings it, but he brings it smartly. Like in that test match,
Yeah,
they did that thing where they disrupted the mauls. They found a loophole in the rule that's since been
yeah. Well, we
closed
had that
because
chat this afternoon. Like I didn't even remember that, but as you said, like Russie literally advocated for law changes.
based off what him and Scott Barrett had seen. And I presume
Yeah,
some of the coaches, I don't know who came up with that idea in the first place, but they were certainly the two that seemed to enact it by getting on the wrong side of the ruck without losing their bind, holding up the maul, getting the turnover. And Russie and Saru were so pissed they went to World Rugby and Russie did what Russie does. Somehow,
he's the
puppet
magician.
master this whole this
Mm.
this whole thing. um, yeah,
We
so
better be
you just got to give
careful.
him
The comments might light up if we get too negative on Russie.
Hey, look, I mean, there's no doubting he does what he has to do.
He
It's,
does.
it's not
He's a
negative.
winner.
It's
He's a winner.
he somehow achieves everything that he wants to achieve. Whether he's the coach or the director of rugby or banned for however many months, he's still
Don't
out there
forget the
achieving
light.
it.
Remember the light?
Oh, the lights, yeah,
That
the
was
lights.
awesome.
The lights were superb. The hour-long video, all of
Yeah.
those things.
Poor old Nick
Um,
Berry.
yeah, yeah. Now, look, there's a question further up here about why we don't use footage on the podcast. The simple answer is that we don't have the rights. Now that we're no longer with Sky, we can't just go ahead and use their footage on our show. And we've got to respect that because the money that Sky put in helps keep rugby afloat. It's their vision, and we have to respect that. So we don't put it on top. That's theirs. But
We've looked
now
into
that we're not,
whiteboards. We've looked into
yeah,
whiteboards and maps, but we're just not
yeah,
sure
yeah.
it'd
So
be quite entertaining.
yeah. So we'll figure some solutions out along the way. But that's the reason why. And when you do see people use it online, it's little
illegal.
cowboy. So yeah, what else have we got through here? Morby starting and Clark on the bench was not expected. We enjoyed what Morby brought, I think. We've touched on that slightly as far as having three fullbacks and what that could do. Roygaard, Love, and Barrett stay as a combo. Um, yeah, I think that's good. I like the fact that we've seen that much of it. Um, you know, and
I reckon it's
we've
full
seen three full
commitment.
games. Yeah,
It's full commitment. Like that's going to be the 9-12, the 19-12 um,
yeah,
for a long time, I think.
yeah,
Like I
yeah,
don't know if anyone caught Mills Moliana's interview with Ruben, but man, he is a very mature young man, and
yeah.
the way he spoke about yeah, and I know it's probably overused, but I think if you use someone I was about to say it, but I know that you're a Michael Jordan fan. But when you lose someone like LeBron James and about the presence and how he meditates and visualizes, when he goes to the sideline, he's everything's purposeful and it's about being. And I think Sonny Bill brought this to rugby is around being present where your feet are. And I know it's an overused term now, but like the like he just says like between Monday and Friday, that's what will give me the opportunity to perform. And when I get out there, I'll just play
Yeah.
and it was that's something you learn after 50 tests. Like I think he's been surrounded, like he's got a close relationship with TJ Perenara. He's got a captain at the Hurricanes who, after missing selection, Duplessis Khalifi has put up every day how hard he's working to get back. There's a
Mm,
maturity about this Hurricanes squad that is so far beyond their years, but they've all fed into each other. It's like, like Wind, Fire, Captain Planet. Like they all, like there's an element of, or Captain Hurricane, but there's an element where they're all like, oh, that looks good over there, and this looks good, and I don't know. There's a real maturity in such I'd say, a real young group when you think about it.
mm. Yeah, yeah. I mean, and Ruben Love, you see him filling out his books. You see him, he's got all of those kind of things that, he chooses to market, and players have got the ability to market all sorts of things. He chooses to market a diary that helps young
Professionalism.
athletes
Mm.
get professionalism. I think that's the kind of thing that says a lot about what he's about. That's he could be doing cars, he could be selling, whatever he wants to sell, but that's what he's focusing on.
But I think it's also a great message to the young players out there is like, it's not, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Like setting goals every day, waking up, going, this is what I'm going to achieve. Did I achieve them? Did I not? Okay, write it down. Like that's never going to change. That's what greatness looks like, is that discipline to do it. And I
Mm.
think he has created the discipline, but there has been a maturity from the Ruben Love we saw 2 years ago to like the way he spoke in that interview. I was like, oh man, like this kid is seriously special. Like I think we're on the. I actually need to calm myself down, but I think we're on the cusp of something. Yeah, like he's not overawed by the All Black 10 jersey. It's just a jersey to him, and his
Mm.
preparation will dictate how he performs in that jersey.
Yeah, yeah. It is interesting. One of the comments here from William Cooper is, why do you think Bowden's been left out of these three tests so far? And I think a big part of it is that they need to give him that chance in that jersey. They've really got to give him a crack and understand it, and they've really got to give Damien a crack. And then when you look at the balance of the squad, when you focus on the fact that you need that spine to be playing together, and if that's your spine, Bowden's the unfortunate person who misses out because that has to be their focus right now.
Yeah, but also like you can't underestimate Bowden's role during the week. Like he will be running the plays of Ireland, and like man, like that's the whole reason he's been picked. And you look at, like, I think about 2015 when Kevin Mialamu, he was, Colsey and Cody were sort of playing, and but what he did during the week enabled them to win a World Cup, and obviously he got presented towards the finals time. But I, this is the opportunity. Like we have less than 15 tests to the quarterfinal against potentially South Africa. We know
Yeah.
what Bodie can do.
Yeah.
We're 100% confirmed as we know Bodie's a world class talent. We've got to utilise these opportunities to win a World Cup.
Totally. Totally. And there was a question asked in Dave Rennie's press conference today for an update on Richie Mo'unga, and I mean nothing's changed there. In that, he still hasn't played in BC. Their squad for South Africa still gets named before he gets to play in BC, and therefore he can only be injury cover. But having seen what Ruben Love has done, I wonder whether most people have calmed the farm a little bit on that. Like rushing him right back in. Does it need to be a rush?
Do you know what excites me the most? Is Richie as a competitor.
Yeah,
Like, do you know how good it's going to make the side when you've got that sort of competition in the most critical position?
yeah,
Like, he is going to fire. Richie will fire, and he'll be ready for the challenge. But you've got a young man in Ruben who is not overawed at all, and is the incumbent. And
yeah,
I think that's why his performance is why everyone's calmed down.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. But I hope we do see him maybe back in black at some stage this year. Whether it's Africa or whether it's the end of year tour, it would be
Oh,
really good to see
you will.
what he
You
still
will. He'll
brings.
definitely be end of year tour. He'll definitely be end of year tour because then he's eligible.
Yeah,
But if
yeah,
injuries present, he'll like we've seen it. Matt Todd he was in Japan and played for the All Blacks. Like if injuries present, and I've said this before, like you can't set people up to fail. So there's no point bringing someone in to that international arena if they're not ready. So if injuries present that opportunity, you like he's on a New Zealand rugby contract. He'll be
yeah,
playing for Canterbury. He,
yeah,
he's ready to go.
yeah. He had a chance to play for counties. He should have. You know, he should. I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know to
we
Canterbury. He should have.
actually
He should come to counties.
we were looking for a dual sort of Harbour Moana thing at some stage, but yeah, I think he turned down. I think he turned it down.
Yeah, it was a good decision in the end. But
True, true, true.
um, yeah, so there's a few things going on here in the comments section about Parker. Simon Parker is another person we haven't yet seen, and um, it's it's an interesting conversation about the rotation through the first 3 weeks because if we a couple of years ago had a conversation about the rotation of the squad and how many drop opportunities different people get, Kiwis would have been like, oh yeah, let's just play our starting 15, get them used to each other, and forget about the rest. But having seen, I suppose, what Rassi's done, and having seen how that builds a squad, like looking on the weekend, the way he used the playmakers who were Bulls playmakers together, but weren't necessarily Test players, brought them in and gave them cracks, and doing those little things to keep cohesion, but still get a win, I suppose. Against Scotland, we've seen how that can be done to an advanced level now, and I think it seems like Kiwis are now kind of pining for something similar. Like, let's get these
We're
guys
not
crack and
there,
see
Ross.
more.
We're not
Yeah,
there. Like South Africa have had Rusty for what, 12 years, 8 years. I don't know,
yeah,
ages. He's like we've got a new coaching group. We've got a new side, new leadership group. Like it's not a time. We've got a short runway, and as a wise man and Tony Woodcock once said to me, it's not a development team. The All
yeah,
Blacks is the All Blacks, and you get picked on your merits. And I think this coaching group is picking on merits. And I'm not saying that Simon hasn't earned the right to start. I'm just saying, again, the door hasn't been cracked open. But also, I think the strategy of taking on Ireland means they want three big locks.
yeah,
And
yeah,
we can't mess around. We're not going to be South Africa. We're just not in that position. We are in a position that we're going after 2027 Rugby World Cup, and we want to lift that trophy. And I think this coaching group has got a very, very clear plan and idea of how to best achieve that. And it hasn't
yeah,
been perfect either. Do you know what I mean? Like the first two games haven't been perfect. They've won,
Yeah, but they're
and that's
building.
what's key. That's what's key Saturday is the victory. Like because we know New Zealand is expecting another W and WWWW. Maybe South African tour they might be happy with the 2-2. I'm not too sure. But like this is the big test.
Yeah, it's a good looking forward pack. O'Toole, Sheehan, Furlong, McCarthy, Ryan, Byrne, Van der Fleer, Conan. That is a good looking pack. Like that's a lot to get over there.
Especially that loose forward trio.
Mm,
It's yeah. Um, Tupou does bring another mix to our loose forward trio. Like it's a different balance. It's very much a direct route that we'll be taking. But I think that fits. If you look at the Irish, they're very direct and like you, mate. The moment they literally set foot in the 22, it ain't going anywhere else but straight down Channel One, and
yeah.
that's their style. And we've picked a team that can hopefully match that physically, defensively, but then on attack as well.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. What would you most like to see Will Jordan play, fullback or the saxophone? Um,
Right wing.
right wing. We'll stick with right wing. The stats on the right wing are pretty damn good. There's no arguing about that.
Willie Cole on the saxophone though. Yeah, he enjoys the old saxophone.
Angus Tarval dabbled, didn't he?
He did. He
Um,
did. He's quite the magician. He's quite the man, old Gus.
yeah, he can put his hand to anything, anything at all. Yeah, what else is in this team? I
Anton,
think the
Quinn Tapia.
Anton Signet. Yeah, yeah.
No,
Well,
no, I
having
mean Anton Leonard
having
Brown and
Antonina Brown. Yeah,
Quinn Tapia. I think
yeah,
obviously I'm really interested to see that role Anton can play off the bench. Sorry, I
mm,
should say I'll say ALB just because there's two Antons
yeah,
now.
yeah,
ALB can play off because I think he is someone that can cover a lot of roles. So I'll be interested to see where that's at, and I'm really excited. With the super form of Quinn.
mm,
And this is the big test. Like and every selection is power. Like Quinn's full power. He's a power athlete.
yeah.
He's a power ball runner. He's a power defender. So I'm excited to see what he can produce off the back of his. Well, to be fair, he's had two or three amazing seasons, but that was the best Super Rugby season I've ever seen. I can see you reading comments when you get the giggles. I'm
Yeah.
like, God, what are they saying? Makes me anxious.
We've had a few interesting questions, some repeat questions as well, which won't be read out from the previous one. Now, look, the other thing on the bench is that they're carrying two Lucies, Anton and Peter, in a 5-3 split, utilizing Tupou probably, I imagine, to go back to lock when they take Patrick off. That's probably how it'll work.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Paddy's coming back from an injury, and minutes wise, I think you'll see him go 45-50.
Yeah,
Tupou will slip into the second row, and um, I actually don't know. You'd have to think Lakai will come on to six, and then maybe
Signer at 7.
yeah. Well, it'll depend how the game's going. It's going to be brutal,
Yeah, but you
Like
can't
I
imagine
think.
them taking Artie off if they're not well
Oh
in the
no,
lead, right?
no, no, they won't. They won't take him off. I was just thinking maybe, um, yeah, 0 and 8, 7. Put Adi to 7 and move it around. But maybe I'm overcomplicating it just to create chat.
What Rennie did say though was that he will do a 6-2 split at some stage in the first few games in Africa.
Oh,
So
100%. He's going to have
um,
to.
yeah,
Mate,
so
they
good
did
to
a
see how
6-2
that looks.
split against Scotland. Like there's, it's yeah. But I think that's where Anton Leonard-Brown, I think, becomes really critical in that 23 jersey.
Yeah, yeah,
If you're
his
playing
ability to play.
Damien and Ruben,
Yeah,
you've got your 10 cover, and I think his ability to play wing midfield is well, actually probably Rico as well. I know everyone's going to hate me on that because I'm a Blues lover, but he obviously has that ability. Billy Proctor
yeah,
probably as well a little bit, but I
and
think
Quinn can
Anton's
play out on the wing.
yeah, true. But I
Yeah,
suppose
they've got plenty of depth there.
Quinn's probably thing. I just think that's the when you go 6-2, that's the position where you've got to be most versatile, and I think probably Anton has the most versatility there.
Yeah, well, I think Geordie has started in the 10, the 11, the 12, and the 14 jersey for the All Blacks at different
Yeah.
times. So
Mm.
they've got a lot of versatility in that thing for a 6-2 split.
Yeah,
So
Artie could probably play wing as well.
yeah,
Let's be honest.
Rennie did crack a joke about why don't we get innovative and do a 4-4 split. and, and then followed that up by saying that Neil Barnes probably wouldn't appreciate it.
No. I think Neil Barnes would like a 7-1 split.
Yeah. Good question here from Kiwa Andrews about where they should attack and pointing out that Sam Prendergast's defense is a weakness that he's seen or she's seen, I'm not sure. But that seems like a good call. It has
Yeah.
shown up.
Well, if you look at Sam Prendergast, he defends in the backfield.
Mm,
So what they'll need to do is do exactly what they've done with the pack, and they're going to have to go through them first, and then try and find that space on the edge, like we saw with the Geordie's grubber kick through Leroy, inside, outside. That's where you'll be able to pick on Sam. They'll hide him as
yeah.
best as they can, but what he is he's very passive defensively, and the best one is if you look back to the Six Nation where BLBRE, like he just needed a close space on him, and he waited,
Yeah.
and then he was just done for speed, and that'll be those little short kicks in behind because the winger comes up, like this, short kicks in behind, and if he's too deep it's just a catch pass. It's 2-on-1, easy as.
Yeah.
If the winger comes up and you find space, if he doesn't close that time and space, then it's what I'm probably trying to say is he needs to make sure he's not isolated, as in Sam, and
Yeah.
and he will always be in the backfield. They're not going to put him in the front line.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Another comment in here, and I don't know how, like Luke Riley Johns, I think, I don't know if you're baiting us, but you know how we feel about Geordie Barrett. He calls Geordie a common denominator in a dysfunctional backline. Geordie had 3 try assists on the weekend, so I think we can probably move on from that. As a common denominator in a dysfunctional backline, the person who created 3 tries doesn't seem like the dysfunctional element of that backline. Um,
No, I quite like the back line.
yeah, the backline's doing all right, and Geordie's playing out of his skin. Um, how can Lakai not be starting? I don't get it. Look, that's got
No,
to
it's
come
just a,
down to
it's
the
a it's a
height.
it's a
It's
height,
a size
just
thing.
height,
Yeah,
just height, and this is where and look, I was guilty of it as a player, is not understanding strategy. Like when you were put to the bench or you were put to the, and I was a sulky little wuss when it came to sort of being dropped and stuff. But like it's literally not a skill set execution issue. It is literally just
yeah,
height and wanting to take, and then they're going to speed the game up in that last 20, and you just look out. And like I am so excited for that, like last sort of 20-25 minutes when that bench comes on.
yeah, and they will maintain that height because Segner comes on as a line out option as
Yeah,
well.
but
So
the
then
the
it
the
gives you
games
options
at a
there.
point, where
Yeah,
you're not fresh. So why you need height early is when everyone's fresh, and you're gonna have to find space, and you're gonna have to win the aerial battle. So when bodies start to tire, you can speed up lineouts, you can go tempo, you can go quick throwing, and that's why when you bring on Lakai and Segner, tactically it's not as big an issue as at the start of the
yeah,
test, and that's what they're doing. It's a chess game, you know. I love the NRL and I love the league, but that's checkers. This is chess. You know, like rugby is chess, and you've got to set yourself up in the sense of having that height and that ability early when everyone's fresh, and then once the game loosens up, lineouts don't really become a factor, neither the scrums.
Yeah, yeah. If you want to throw a couple more questions in, just a little bit more time, I've got to put my little fella to bed at some stage in the
Yeah,
next little
yeah,
while.
yeah. Yeah.
Take him off the electronic parent and put him to bed. But yeah, if you've got a couple of questions, then please throw them in there now before we sign off on this. Thank you again for joining us on these lives. We'll try to do them wherever we can to keep giving you content from Aotearoa Rugby Pod.
When our
Um,
other jobs allow.
Yeah, yeah. Everyone's quite busy. Brenner's in full steam ahead, getting ready for Harbour's latest assault on the NPC. Um, it's going to be huge. In fact, some of the kit that Harbour's putting out. Do you see that North Harbour hockey jersey that they're putting out? Not
Yeah,
bad looking.
Paladin actually quite humble plug there, Paladin. Send us some kit. But
Yeah,
yeah, they have always been adventurous.
yeah,
Even when I was back playing, they did the tapered trackies and the singlets and stuff, and now they're really just doing the whole NFL gig and ice hockey gig. I mean, I
yeah.
wouldn't wear it personally. It's not it's not my. I mean, I wear it a pink and blue shirt, but the ice hockey jersey doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're a bit baggy too. You can't get your
Yeah,
pipes out in a nice hockey jersey.
you can't.
Yeah, right. Okay, Bryson, you said you have a question mark. Give us your question. You can be the last one, and then we'll hit the road. Um, or is it I have a question? And the answer is I don't know. Here we go.
uh,
Shouldn't we have given Preston some minutes heading to South Africa and also via at six over like I surprises me or not? I
but
feel like
plenty,
you
plenty,
might just join us here.
yeah, but I think just to answer it though, like there's a lot of warm up games before. I get the question, but I think, yeah, as I said before, I think we have limited time until World Cup with the new coaching group, and they've got to do the best as they can. And Preston will see some big minutes, I think, in those lead up games, and I think his style also in terms of strategy will suit playing South Africa. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him playing test matches in South Africa.
Yeah, one last question. Will this also be the team to play the box?
No,
It might not
I
be
I,
far from it.
I think you'll see a 6-2.
Yeah,
You'll
yeah.
see a 6-2. Yeah, Tupo. Yeah, yeah. I
You'd think
think I
that
think
Barry,
Sa-
given his
Sa-
form,
Sam
would be
Gary
back.
will be there. Gary will be there. Um, yeah, probably pretty close actually.
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah. Sam
close.
Barry there. The backline
13
looks
maybe.
like close to a
13
top backline. We'll
maybe.
see.
Caleb
Number
Clark.
11.
Yeah,
Will Morby be the guy? We don't know, right? Depending on what happens with Fehi and Leroy and all the rest.
I think if he backs up, it's going to be hard to get out of that jersey.
Yeah,
As in
yeah,
Josh Morby, I mean.
yeah,
If he has another performance like he did in Wellington, I don't see those wings changing.
yeah, yeah. Last question. Have you guys warmed up to the Nations Championship? I have. I'm into it.
I love
The
it.
fact that every game
Absolutely
means
love it.
something.
You know, the sad thing is, and I'll admit this on here, is I didn't quite understand it, which is very poor of my um, preparation. But I was like, I wonder which one of the four box tests goes to the Nations Championship. So I looked it up, and it's like, no, it's North and South, you idiot. So
Yeah.
it doesn't work like that. But I
Well,
think like it would be good to have it where everyone plays everyone once.
yeah. There's definitely going to be some uproar if the All Blacks in the box get to the end of the year unbeaten and only one of them can play in the final.
Points differential. Yeah.
That is going to cause some shit because everyone's going to be like, well, the best two teams aren't playing in the final, but this is being set up to maximize viewership, I suppose. So they're having a North versus South at the end. And that's
I
going to
mean,
piss some people off.
rugby loves a review though, so we might review it and change it up.
Totally. Right. Okay, guys, I've got to hit the road. Thank you, Jimbo.
Yep. All right.
Talk soon.
Cheers. It's not
Thank you for
coming
joining
home
us,
either.
everyone.